What's up, Taiwan? I'm Eric Gao. Thanks for joining us here for the news. The African nation of Somalia has banned Taiwanese passport holders from entering the country. Taiwan says this move is part of Beijing's ongoing attempts to isolate the country from the international community. Reese Ayers is live from our Taipei newsroom with more on this. Reese, how is Taiwan reacting to Somalia's sudden decision?
Well, Taiwan's not pleased. They've said they're protesting this decision by Somalia and asking Somalia to roll it back immediately. The Somalian government saying that they've made this decision in accordance with a UN resolution from 1971. That resolution dictates that the People's Republic of China, that's China's official name, they are the only and sole and legitimate representative of China to the United Nations in favor of Taiwan, or the ROC, the Republic of China, as Taiwan's officially known. Now, Taiwan's Foreign Affairs Ministry is saying that Somalia has actually misinterpreted that UN resolution.
对于索马利亚政府错误解释联合国大会第2758号决议，并与所谓一个中国原则挂钩，图谋制造台湾隶属于中华人民共和国的假象。外交部也予以严正驳斥，并强烈谴责。
Now, Taiwan is accusing China of coercing other countries to limit the freedoms of Taiwanese passport holders by doing things like putting on travel restrictions, or as we've also seen recently, also in Africa, in South Africa, China asked them to move or rename the overseas Taiwanese representative office there as a kind of form of diplomatic pressure. It's a newer tactic by China, and it comes in addition to its attempts to poach Taiwan's few remaining diplomatic allies, of which there are only 12, Taiwan having most recently lost Nauru in 2024.
So, Reese, what does this ban and the other coercion tactics by China mean in reality for Taiwan?
Well, you know, there aren't actually that many Taiwanese tourists lining up to go to Somalia, so the impact there isn't going to be too heavy. But it is considered part of China's wider grey zone warfare, which is Beijing kind of chipping away at Taiwan's sovereignty and trying to isolate it diplomatically in the international community. Often China does this by starting with maybe financial incentives for smaller countries, particularly those in Africa, where China's trying to grow its sphere of influence. But currently, most countries, over 160 of them, do let Taiwanese passport holders in under preferential visa arrangements. That means essentially little to no visa application for Taiwanese citizens going there, though that number has fallen a few in the last couple of years after a handful of countries kind of took away those advantages, which Taiwan's foreign ministry is blaming on China putting pressure on those countries. Still, Taiwan has one of the strongest passports in Asia, one that is much stronger than China's.
Thanks, Reese. That was Reese Ayers reporting from our newsroom here in Taipei. And amid growing regional tensions, Taiwan's military is defending how it chooses its weapons, saying strategy drives those decisions. This follows reports that a recent arms purchase request was turned down by the United States. Jaime Ocon explains what's behind that denial and what it means for Taiwan's defense.
Taiwan's military is looking to spend big on its defense. Specifically on two major U.S.-made systems, MH-60 Seahawk anti-submarine helicopters and E-2D early warning aircraft. Both of these systems are some of the most advanced of their kind. But according to local news outlet Up Media, Taiwan's defense ministry was denied these aircraft multiple times, leaving the military here searching for alternatives.
任何有助提升战力的武器装备，我们都会透过各项的会议，与美来做这个意见的交换。
Reports say that the United States, which is Taiwan's largest provider of weapons, declined the sale because the requested aircraft were not in line with an asymmetric strategy. This means using cheaper systems that are highly mobile, lethal, and easier to maintain. The Navy had previously tried to buy the Seahawk helicopters in 2015 and 2022, but failed due to similar issues and high costs. Taiwan says the helicopters would boost maritime surveillance.
反潜直升机当然具备的机动，它可以大范围的搜索，那这个能力跟需求海军是有的。那有关新的直升机的筹获，或是现役机种的后续的可能的性能提升，整个这个整体的规划，那目前我们都在整体的评估作业之中。
Taiwan already has older, similar versions of both the plane and the helicopter. But many observers say that given the size of the threat from China's military, Taiwan should not try to compete in the quantity of systems. That's because of a concern that many expensive systems like tanks, fighter jets, and warships might not survive in a conflict. Instead, experts say Taiwan should try to balance its military arsenal.
I think mostly asymmetry is the way to go. I've heard from policy wonks across Taiwan is having some, not all, of the big platforms makes it easier when dealing with the day-to-day gray zone coercion. I don't necessarily think telling the Taiwanese not to have every sort of high-level platform is wise. I think it should be done in parallel with the cheaper autonomous weapons that are very low cost.
Taiwan's defense minister says the country is embracing an asymmetric strategy, but seeing what's actually on the military's wish list makes it difficult to believe. Devin Tai and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
Beer and steel from China could soon face anti-dumping measures here as Taiwanese firms lose domestic market share. John Van Trieste reports.
These clinking glass bottles will soon be filled with fresh Taiwan beer, the go-to for many of Taiwan's drinkers. From big-name brands like Taiwan beer to artisanal craft brews, Taiwan's beer scene has something for every taste. But times are hard in beer land. The Taiwan Brewers Association says the market share for domestically brewed beer has fallen from 65% in 2018 to just under 48% last year. Some in the industry blame competition from Chinese brewers, and they want anti-dumping tariffs.
在地酿造的啤酒，我们都是采用在地制造的农业以及在地的物流商这些运送，所有全部人都会一起受到损害，因为你整个的产能利用率降低，那你的雇员的人数也会跟着降低。
The government is considering duties of nearly 60% on beer imported from China. The Economy Ministry plans to spend a little over 2 months looking at the merits of anti-dumping protections. But it's not just brewers asking for tariffs on China. Taiwan steelmakers, too, want help. They say their Chinese competitors are overproducing and then dumping certain hot-rolled flat steel products Taiwan imports hundreds of thousands of tons of each year. China's market share grew almost 300-fold between the second half of 2023 and the first half of 2024. Here, too, the government has opened a 70-day window to look at the request for a tariff. It's considering duties of close to 24%, not as high as those on beer, but still hefty. Though some observers urge caution, stressing the chance of Chinese retaliation, others see cause for concern about Chinese dumping in Taiwan in the future.
特别是中国大陆产品，它卖美国更加的困难，所以它一定会低价行销到全世界各地，包括台湾，会加强这反营销制度使用的一个频率。
Taiwanese producers hope the Finance Ministry, which has the final word on the matter, will take their side and, as they see it, give their industries a respite in tough times. Justin Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
China's manufacturing activity has fallen as U.S. tariffs take effect. China's National Statistics Bureau says a key measure of industrial output came in at 49 in April, down from March's 50.5, and anything below 50 signifies contraction. This was a steeper decline than many analysts had expected. U.S. tariffs as high as 145% on Chinese products began in April, and Beijing has responded with 125% tariffs on U.S. imports. North Korea says it's test-fired weapons on its new warship. On Wednesday, North Korean state media reported that leader Kim Jong-un oversaw the launch of cruise and anti-air missiles from the Cho-hyung-class vessel. North Korea says this ship is part of a plan to modernize its navy, and it will go into service early next year. The Economy Ministry says the closure of Taiwan's last nuclear plant should not lead to worse air pollution, amid concerns that the phase-out of nuclear energy will drive fossil fuel use higher.
天然气了还有增加的这个无碳的这个绿能，这个空气应该是 不会有什么影响。
Comments come as Taiwan's last remaining nuclear reactor is set to be shut down next month. It's part of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's policy to phase out nuclear energy by 2025. The plant currently accounts for around 3% of the country's power generation. Renewable energy generation is lagging original targets, but the ministry says it's confident in reaching the goal in the next few years. Canada's Liberal Party has won a fourth straight term in power, with Mark Carney at the helm. The former Bank of Canada governor staged an unexpected political comeback as anger rose in his country about pressure from the U.S. Rosie Graninger reports.
Political newcomer and former central banker Mark Carney, now the new Prime Minister of Canada, after his Liberal Party claimed victory in the country's federal election. The party clinched to a fourth term in a remarkable political turnaround, shaped by US President Donald Trump's threats against the country. Carney calling it a new beginning, but warned of challenges to come.
America wants our land, our resources, our water, our country. Never. But these are not idle threats. President Trump is trying to break us so that America can own us. That will never ever happen.
Just months ago, the Liberal Party was well behind in the polls. Led by former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, they were forecast to lose by double digits. But facing economic coercion from America in the form of tariffs and a push by President Trump to annex Canada as the US's 51st state, new leader Carney capitalised. The Liberal leader focusing relentlessly on Trump, vowing under him Canada would never concede to the US's demands. In his concession speech, his main rival, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre, promised to work alongside the new government in defending Canada's sovereignty.
We will always put Canada first as we stare down tariffs and other irresponsible threats from President Trump.
Countries from across the globe have been quick to herald the outcome of the vote, including allies in Europe, Australia and Chile. While those with previously strained relationships with Canada have highlighted the opportunities to improve ties, including India and China.
中方愿在相互尊重、平等互利的基础上发展中加关系。
US President Donald Trump has called Carney to congratulate him. The US State Department calling the relationship between the two countries one of the most extensive in the world, as the two leaders are expected to open up negotiations about trade in the near future.
We look forward to working with Prime Minister Carney's government, particularly on key issues such as trade fairness, combating illegal immigration, halting the flow of fentanyl and other dangerous drugs, and countering the Chinese Communist Party influence in our hemisphere.
But in his victory speech, Carney highlighted Canada has many other options to build prosperity for Canada. Political analysts say the leader will be looking elsewhere amid their shaky ties with the US.
I think he's actively saying, listen, we will negotiate and we are going to have these meetings and we are going to do our best, but there is a line we won't cross. And so in the same time, I'm also going to be cultivating all these other relationships because there are these other mechanisms we can use to try and strengthen the Canadian economy at the same time.
Riding a new wave of enthusiasm, Prime Minister Mark Carney has returned to work in Ottawa, with much to do on the agenda, as he refuses to bow to pressure from the US. Howard Chang and Rosie Graninger for TaiwanPlus.
And President Lai Ching-te has congratulated Carney as well, saying in a post on X that he looks forward to deepening the two countries' partnership through cultural and technological cooperation. And thank you for tuning in to What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website to find more of our news reports or follow us on social media to get updates directly in your feed. Finally, take a look at these Taiwanese athletes stacking cups. They took dozens of medals at the World Sport Stacking Competition in Switzerland. I'm Eric Gao. Take care, and we'll see you next time.